guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lindsay here, and today we have my dad, who is also an INTJ. His name is Doug, but he's dad to me, and it's actually on Father's Day today. And so you have two INTJs for the price of one. I only discovered my personality type about a little over like a year and a half ago, and not long after that, I told my dad to take a test, and both my parents actually. And come to find out, he was an INTJ as well, which made things make a lot more sense. So yeah, we're gonna ask him some questions in this video, and hope you enjoy it. So we'll get started right away. All right, so first question, looking at your life as a whole, what ability of yours do you think has added most to your success? So you have to talk about the good things about yourself. A good quality that you think that maybe other people don't necessarily have to the same degree as you do, that's kind of let you bypass the system in some way.
I think it'd be something that actually you have.
What is that?
And that even though things weren't going well for you outside, you socially were not that tuned into people, and you didn't know how to gossip or talk and all that kind of stuff. I didn't either. But I always believed that something good was going to happen. And, I couldn't understand why don't people like me? Mm-hmm. Why can't I go into the group and talk and learn how to chit chat? Totally, everything bored me. I really wasn't interested in much of what they were talking about. I always wanted to do something, wanted to build something or try something else. Listening to what I see that people said, you're a jerk, you're a nerd, you're this or that.
Okay.
I just didn't believe that. Mm-hmm. So I just said, that's not me, but I don't know. I just have to figure it out. I got to figure out how to talk. Like, what do they talk about? What do they do? What do I do? If I meet that person, can that, and I'd listen to their conversations. I'm saying, okay, they're talking about this and talking about that. I was okay talking about baseball because I like baseball.
Yeah.
And I like music and stuff.
So you could disregard basically the realities around you to then figure out and build the reality that you wanted to have.
I didn't disregard it. I just was totally
disregarded it.
I was blind. I just had no clue what was going on, and I just thought that I was messing up somehow there. I didn't get it. There's something wrong. I just messed up. But someday I'll figure it out. Someday I'll work this problem out.
Yeah. Everything is figured out.
And I remember you, and we just talked about this recently. She went to a party with a bunch of other girls at a skating rink. And all the other girls were like all skating together, talking and this and that. And you were just like going around as fast as you could go all around. And just like, I was wondering, are you just showing off? Like, why aren't you like hanging out with the other girls? And then you just told me later you said they were too boring. You just had nothing to say to them. Yeah. And you wanted to go fast.
Yeah.
So you went fast.
You leave everyone else in the dust. That's what happens. Yeah, I mean, even if people say things, you can't really take their word for it, because I realize that most people have no idea what they're talking about.
No.
For the most part. And everyone's figuring it out at the same, no one really knows what they're talking about for the most part.
No, everybody's like me. Everybody's like you. We're all this, It's not until you realize you're the captain of your ship that you have control and you can take it, enjoy it, or you can make yourself miserable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That you begin to get some freedom from all that.
Yeah. You just steer it where you want it to go.
And they're doing the same thing, so they're messing up too.
Yeah. Well, some people never realize that they're steering their own ship.
No, I know.
Some people will continue to blame it on other people, be like, oh, it's their fault that my boat flipped over. It's their fault that I hit the ground.
We have a president that's sort of like that.
Yeah, we're trying not to keep it too political. Okay, so what has been the hardest thing for you to do or learn, but has given you the most value once you figured it out?
I think this probably, for me, is learning how to be social, learning how to be nice with people, and also what changed my life, it's changed my life more than anything, is studying classical music and playing it at a high level. It really changes the way you think, It changes the way you approach every single thing in life. How you learn it. You don't learn the word cat. You learn the word you learn C-A-T, T in the front, A. You switch them around. You move them around. You move words. So you're moving pieces of music around. You're moving, taking this line and trying to reverse it with this line, just for the game of it. Mm-hmm. But by doing that, you're getting rid of the cobwebs, and you're getting rid of you're making your mind flexible. Mm-hmm. And so everything I did in life after that, I always approached in that way. Mm-hmm. Never just learn something. You don't learn Spanish by hearing a line, repeating it, and doing that. You have to mix it up. You got to change it. You got to try it. You got to do it, and you have to constantly. So you get inside of what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to say it, and that's also a really great definition of what introverted intuition is, and just how you said, once I studied music and I learned this system to, work within it, then I could apply that system to everything else in life. That's what introverted intuition does, like at scale, is it takes, this concept works in all these different areas, so now I can hack a solution to this thing or that thing because I knew how to do it over here, and it should apply to this thing. So that's what our brains are kind of wired to do, and your music was a way to do it and learn things. But what is something small that trips you up? It doesn't have to be like a big significant thing, but we're talking about on the daily. What is something that will either frustrate you or trip you up somewhere?
Things that trip me up the most is the mind doesn't stop talking all the time. Mm-hmm. It just keeps going. It talks about this, or it will think about a problem that's coming up, or start planning the day, or I'll start having a conversation with somebody in my head, rehearsing what I will say or what I could do, or it just talks all the time, so that I miss. I'm not looking. I'm not looking at the world. I'm not looking. So all of a sudden I realize I missed the time when I was supposed to call somebody, or this or that, or. Mm-hmm. Or I took a walk out, like we go to Worthheim, the park, we mm-hmm. walk around. I could go that whole park and then get back into the car and say, like, what did it look like today? Or what was it like today?
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
no idea.
It's too busy up here.
Too busy. I know. That's kind of a struggle of our type. Yeah, and it's hard because then you feel like you missed out on the real world around you.
You do. All of a sudden you begin to realize, especially as you're getting older, it's inevitable, but you realize if I just listened and looked more, mm-hmm. I could have seen a lot more. Mm-hmm. But, well, what small things trip you up?
Well, small things that trip me up are the same. I wouldn't say being in my head trips me up, but I would say more that the repercussion of being in my head is what trips me up, for the same reasons that you said. Like sometimes I'll, stick my finger in the blender at Thanksgiving and turn it on while I'm trying to get the sweet potatoes out, or because I'm thinking about something else, mm-hmm. Or you're thinking ahead to the next thing, and then sometimes forgetting to attend to a basic thing that's right in front of you. Sometimes there are a flight of stairs or something like that. But those are just frustrations, they're not like huge monumental things, but they're more frustrations. Okay, so looking back at us both as people, how would you say you could see similarities in our personalities?
We have a lot of similarities in our personalities.
Did you notice them earlier, or did you not notice them till later when I pointed out that we happen to be the same personality type?
I think that's when I realized it. Mm-hmm. I used to always wonder, I said, there's something incredible about you when you got older. When you were a teenager, you were hell. But when you got older, there was just something, I never hear you say something bad about another person. You never gossip. If the other girls are around there gossiping and giggling, you're really not part of that. It's just like, I don't know. But I began to see similarities of, then I went back into your life, mm-hmm. and what you were like, and the awkwardness, mm-hmm. about, with people. And the same thing with me. Unlike me, who it really did, it almost was paralyzing to the point early because I didn't know how to break it. You just seem to be oblivious totally of anything. Like, you always had a smile. You always had fun. I remember your third grade teacher, Mrs. Desmond, saying she has such a hard time in math, but she thinks she's doing so well. And that's really good.
I just didn't care.
You could have gotten, it came down on yourself, but you didn't. You know, it's just sort of like that. So I definitely see that.
But one thing I remember you had told me was that, you know, when you had to do like a new project, or if someone said, hey, can you do this thing? You know, do you know how to do this thing? You would just tell them yes, and then you would figure out how to do it afterwards. And I remember when I was really young being like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I kind of just applied the same thing. If someone was like, oh, can you do this? And I was like, in my head, I was like, I should be able to figure out how to do that. I would just be like, yeah, sure. And that's a very, I think, similar quality that was not only passed on, but it's something that we both will do.
I use that to make money. I remember my first real job was driving a taxi cab for a hotel, picking up truck drivers. And all of a sudden, there became a position at the hotel for 10 cents more an hour for if you could be the handyman. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll be the handyman. So, really? I know how to do everything. You know, I know how to do nothing. So I said, how hard could this be?
Yeah.
So I remember once they had washers and sinks at that time, and you had to take apart the faucet and put a new washer in so it didn't drip. And I didn't know how to get inside the faucet. So I said, you have to get in from underneath. So I figured, I have to take the sink off the wall in order to get there. So I have the sink, and it's all over the floor. And the boss comes walking in, and he goes, what are you doing? And I said, the brackets on the back were loose and it was going to fall and it might hurt somebody. So I thought I'd tighten that up. And now I'm going to start getting to, you just open up the tub, you unscrew this. I know. I said, I know. So, okay, that's what you got to do. So I figured that. So then I did. You bring it into the hardware store, and you say, I need one of these things. And he goes, yeah, okay, you need a washer for the sink. Okay, here, this and that. And there's, oh God, what is that? The goop. It's the weight stuff that you put. A plumber's putty? Yes, I need some plumber's putty. So you learn little pieces, a little bit at a time. And then what I would do when I was editing a lot, I would study software that I thought was kind of fun, kind of neat, like different kinds of After Effects things and compositing things and all that. And then I would sell that to them. So they, you could do that, but you know what you could do? What if we took this and visually made the graphics or the words? We can fly them in. We can do this. Put a 3D effect on them. Yeah, that would be good. So that's how I made money too. It made their project better.
And they basically paid you to learn it.
They paid me to learn it, and sometimes I couldn't really charge for it because I was just saying, we could do this. I could do this, but it made me more valuable in their minds.
I totally do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll do, and especially there'll be certain projects that I'll get throughout the year that I know, okay, well, this project's coming around, and now to make it this better for this year, I'll sell them on, we can do it this way, and then it's just then I get to learn how to do it for that reason.
Right. I remember when you said you have an education degree in music. You said, I want to go into advertising, and you started applying for jobs for social director, or marketing director, and I said, you can't do that. I said, you don't even know anything about marketing. I don't know what you're doing. You're going to walk into a meeting, and they're going to start throwing around jargon, and you're going to be like, you're going to be out the door. But it proved me wrong. I did very well in that.
Yeah, I think times, I can't say everyone can do it, because the thing is we have confidence in our ability to figure something out, whereas, figuring things out can be harder for other people, but we put our confidence there. So we can just be like, yeah, sure, I can go and figure it out, and we have confidence in our ability to be able to pull something off, but I thought for a long time everyone did that.
The pain about it is that you promise things and you don't know how to do it, and you only have a weekend to learn it or something, and you're just up every night. I mean, you're just up, just working, trying to understand it, conceptually grab it, trying to dissect it, pull it apart, being able to find any way that you can make any changes if they ask you to make changes. You know, it just takes a lot of work to just to do that. But yeah, I never even thought about that. I just thought that it was just something neat to do.
Okay, and that reminds me of one thing that'll be our last question is, okay, so your ability to see things that are coming on the horizon. So in terms of there could be a problem that would arise, or, you know, this could be a good opportunity if I went about it this way. How do you see the future?
I wanted to get into, I had a lot of anxiety, so I didn't want to perform in front of people. It was just too overwhelming. I wanted to be a painter, but like you showed in your painting, one of your painting blogs, that doesn't run in our family.
Not very good painting.
So that wasn't very. So I became an editor, and there I could work in the solitude of my studio. I was doing sound design and stuff for some movies and TV, radio commercials and TV commercials. I was doing the audio portion of it, and I said, okay, I started getting into just be fun to learn about the video, and I felt it happening, so I started to study it, and then all of a sudden a client said to me, you know, I don't want to go back to this. This is when I was working in the city. I had the studio in New York City, and I said, I don't want to go back to the editing studio. It's going to take so long. Can you just do this? Can you cut something for me? Sure, I can cut it. So I started to do that. And then I started to learn more, and I always felt that I knew that the day I bought a camera, I felt like inside somebody was telling me, you need the camera. You got to get this. You better go get this camera, and you better learn how to use it. And within a few months, work all was starting coming for the camera, just out of the blue. So I always felt that I was led. And the thing I always felt, I always knew I had to do, if I felt something, that I need to act on it. Because if I didn't act on it, the opportunity would go by.
Yeah.
And every time I acted, something happened. So
yeah, that's a good way to say it. I feel the same way. I'll say, like, there'll be something that I don't understand what its purpose is, but I'll be like, there's this thing, and I just feel like it's important, and so I just kind of store it in one part of like my brain, and then all of a sudden I'll see like another piece that's like connected to it, and then I'll kind of keep it over in that same area, and I'm like, I don't know what this is for, but this is for something, you know? And then usually I'll like either like there'll be some piece that I'll take it together, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, now this is what the thing is. This is what I've been saving those other two pieces for. You know, now this whole thing makes sense, and now I can go and like, you know, do this thing, or it makes sense for me to work in this direction or whatever it is. Okay, and then one final thing, if you were going to give some advice to all the other,
I'm not a good person for advice, but go ahead.
You don't get, it's my game. Okay.
Okay.
If you're going to give some advice to all of the young INTJs out there who are watching this video, what would you tell them?
That it's not you. You think that it's not you. It's just learning to navigate. It's just learning to work your way through it, because it's not, because a lot of times you begin just to think that there's something wrong with you, or this or that. It's not that at all.
Any final words?
No. I guess no.